everybody at Sandfield, Herrick, St Thomas More, Overdale, Catherine Junior School. I think I've covered everyone, but if I haven't, then that's on me. This is Danny Canal. I am the Air Quality Education Officer at Leicester City Council, and I am here to warm you up for Clean Air Day, which is happening on Thursday, the 17th of June. Now, you all know, or you might all know, some of you do, perhaps some of you don't, I'm talking too much already, that I absolutely love anything that helps to make the air cleaner. That is what I'm here for, and that is what I do. So on this Clean Air Day on the 17th of June, we have been working very closely with your schools to arrange the closure of the roads in front of your schools during a 3-hour period, either in the morning or in the afternoon. But this doesn't mean that we are just closing the road during your school run times in the morning or the afternoon. We're also turning those roads into play streets. Now, we've been working with your school and they have come up with a whole host of different ideas and activities for you to participate in on the day. So fingers crossed, all of you or most of you are going to get a chance to get outside on Clean Air Day and make the most of that traffic-free space, which not only is going to be safer, it's also going to have cleaner air. Now, everybody, the most important thing that we are hoping you guys can do on Clean Air Day, the most number one important thing, is to try and travel to school a little more actively. Now, myself and my colleagues Anna and Mel from Sustrans and my good old buddy Clean Air Clive, that some of you I know already, have put together a little video for you which will help you to decide which form of active travel you want to use on the day. Now, active travel covers lots of different things, but the basic point of it is that we get you to leave the car at home and find a way to get to school using your feet and legs, so walking, or using wheels, cycling or scooting. Now, I know a lot of you love to walk to school or cycle or scoot anyway, but on this day in particular, we are really encouraging as many people at all of those 5 schools as possible to get to school more actively and make the most of that road closure and that clear space first thing in the morning or in the afternoon. So, ladies and gentlemen, teachers, head teachers, or the members of staff at the schools, Clean Air Day is coming, and I want to ask you, are you ready for it? So before we get started, I thought it would be a really good idea for us to have a think about what air pollution is and where it comes from. Now, air pollution is something that you can't really see. It's not as if you can put your hand on it like you can your sofa or a table or the chair in front of you. It's really difficult to grasp. I mean, sometimes you can see dirty air, perhaps when it comes out of a volcano or if there's a fire, or you can see the sooty smoke coming out of a car exhaust, for instance. But a lot of the time it looks completely invisible. But obviously we know that it's there. Scientists have proven this. So I'm going to put up, or your teacher's going to put up, the 2 pictures in front of you, and you'll notice that they are pictures of a very busy London high street. And what I would like you to do in your classes is to either have a chat with the person next to you, or just have a think for yourself, and then when your class is ready and you've got lots of ideas about where the air pollution is coming from in those 2 pictures, and I'm encouraging you to think outside the box, the metal boxes with wheels, that is, then you can put your hands up and give your teacher your answers. So I'm going to give you a few moments to do that. So guys, off you go, time for a discussion. Are we back? Have we had loads of ideas? I bet you have come up with tons and tons and tons of things, haven't you? So obviously most of the things in that picture are related to transport, aren't they? And there are buses and vans and cars and all kinds of things. In the background, you've got lots of buildings, so they're going to be burning things. They're all going to have heating systems. That big tower that looks like a chimney could even be a factory if anybody said that. I don't know if you noticed, but there's roadworks happening as well in there, which causes lots of dust. And believe it or not, that is also an air pollutant. If you look at the picture further over on the left, you'll notice a very well-known fast food chain. Can anybody guess what it is? The logo is blue and orange. Did you guess it? It's Greggs. I bet you like Greggs, don't you? I must say I am a fan of their vegan sausage rolls. But when they're cooking their food, what happens with all of the waste? And I don't mean the food waste either. I mean all of the smoky waste from the ovens. It comes out of extractor fans and goes out into the open air. We can't see it, but we can certainly smell it. Think about all the tiny particles that might be in there. Right then, so most of the air pollution though from that picture is clearly coming from one particular source. Car exhaust, and I bet you guys knew that already. So we estimate in urban areas, so that's built up places with lots and lots of buildings, 70 to 80% of air pollution comes from these locations. And air pollution is made up of lots of different things. It can be made up of dust, as we've learnt from looking at those roadworks. It can be made of solid particles. It can be made of gases, and a lot of us are aware of those. And it can also be made up of liquid droplets. So let's take a look at where air pollution comes from in a little bit more detail. Now you guys have already found out that a lot of the air pollution that is around us comes from road traffic and transport. But there are lots of other things in the environment that we live in the urban environment, and also in nature that make air pollution. And I want you to have a chat again with the person next to you or within your class and put your hands up to give your teacher some of your ideas. Now I'd like your teacher to press pause in a moment, and then when you press play again, we'll go through the answers. I bet you will get tons of ideas. Now remember to think about the natural environment and what might make air pollution, remembering dust and particulates. Where might they be found? And also think about the bigger picture for our urban environment. Think about where we live as well as the things we do. It's not just all about driving cars. I bet you guys had loads of great ideas, but let's go through some of mine. So we all know about the urban environment, and I bet lots of you guessed factories. So factories and industry make an awful lot of air pollution. In the natural environment, we have things like volcanoes, and you can see from this picture here that those giant plumes of grey smoke that come out of the top of volcanoes when they erupt, they're bound to create air pollution. But did you know that cleaning products and paints, things that we use every day, can contain chemicals that can cause air pollution too? And farming, did you guys know that that is one of the biggest producers of methane gas on the planet? And can you guess which one out of the tractor or the cow produces the most methane, or rather the methane? Extra bonus point if you can describe the bodily function that might make that methane. Year 6s and year 5s, you guys might get this one. It's bound to cause a lot of giggles over there, sir or miss. So you might need to pause just so everybody can catch their breath. Now in our homes, back in the Victorian times, it was commonplace to walk down a street of back-to-back houses, terraced houses, all with chimneys, all with open fires, and see plumes and plumes of smoke coming out of the top. These days it's not so common, but people still do have things like open fires and log burners in their homes. Whether or not it's just because it looks nice or to keep people warm is another matter, but people still have them. We also use gas central heating, and we cook often with gas as well. All of those things again contributing to poor air quality, even though it's quite a small amount. And finally, the last one is smoking and even vaping. Now, when I was a little girl back in the 90s, a lot more people smoked. It's not as common nowadays, but vaping still produces all of those water droplets that can go into the atmosphere. So it's just something to think about. And this isn't it either. There are tons of other things that produce air pollution, and I bet you came up with loads of ideas. So, what's the problem? We all know that there are two main things that we need to be concerned about when it comes to air pollution. Its impact to human health, so the health of our bodies, to the health of our grown-ups, to our children. Nobody is discriminated against. Everybody can feel the effect of air pollution in one way or another, which is why it's so important that we try and do something about it. But something that is often forgotten is the impact to the environment. Now, in the news recently, Greta Thunberg and other people have been banging the drum about something called the climate emergency and our need to make sure that we are doing things that try and make a positive impact to slow climate change and improve things like air quality around us. So, what is the plan for Clean Air Day? Number one, we want you to make sure that this date is saved in your diaries. It's really important to remember that this day is the important one because we're going to be holding a road closure on one of the roads outside of your school. Now, you'll need to double check with the school whether or not your road closure is going to be happening in the morning between the hours of 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. or in the afternoon between 12:30 and 3:30. Your school will know what that is. Number two, we are so keen for you to leave the car at home and choose an active form of transport to get to school on the day. Walk, cycle or scoot is preferable, but if you do have a really long way to get to school, so you need to use the car, why not consider parking and striding instead? Find a place somewhere between home and school that leaves about a 10-minute walk, or a little bit longer if you're feeling very adventurous and energetic, to park up the car and then walk the rest of the way. And number three, we want you to spread the word. Tell your friends and family about Clean Air Day and why it's important, why we want to change the way we get to school, and to think about the things that we do that impact the air quality. We want to make the air cleaner, and everybody joining in and playing their part is going to make a big difference.